Hello, my name's Joe and welcome to this Xpres Technical YouTube video. In today's video, we're going to be looking at adding favorites in RasterLink 7. Favorites are basically your presets, so it will automatically generate a white plate at different percentage values as is required for the TxF systems. So the first thing we're going to do is go into File and Open and select a file to bring in to VersaWorks. Once the file is in, we can head to the Quality tab and set up our different quality settings. I would generally recommend using the generic DTF film SP profiles when using the TxFs. A resolution of 720 by 720 is the only option you have on this generic DTF film setting, and the default pass rate is usually 10. However, on the TxF 150 you can use a pass rate of 8. And on the TxF 300, you can use a pass rate of 6. Set those settings up and then head to the General Print tab. The only thing that we want to change in the General Print tab is we need to make sure that mirror is ticked. Once mirror is ticked, you can head to the Special Plate tab. RasterLink 7 gives you the option to specify different white densities, as well as different types of created white. RasterLink has a really clever setting called Valid to Non-Background, which I highly recommend you use when setting up these files. If I click Create on this, that will create a 100% white plate. I can then do another one at 80%, which is going to work really well for our cotton garments. And then I can create another at 50%, which will reduce our white ink cost massively when doing white garments. And there are 3 white plates. We can now add some thinning to the white plate. And we need to do this with all 3. So go to Layer, correct the size, thinning, and do 2 pixels scan and feed. One more time, correct the size, thinning, 2 pixels, 2 pixels. Now that that's all set up, we can head into the Favorites tab. Make sure you have one of your 3 white plates selected. Keep an eye on which white plate you have. Select the Special Plate tab and click them through and just make sure you've got the right one. We'll start with 100% and then we'll go into Favorite. Within Favorite, we can now create a setting. Now you can call this whatever you want. You could call it polyester if it's the 100% setting, or you could call it 100% white. When creating this, you cannot use the percent symbol, so just make sure you use PC for percent or whatever you prefer. Once that setting is created, we can then check our quality setting is sent across. Our mirror setting is on. Our special plate is sent across. Now, when you send the special plate across, you can also do automatic creation, composite automatically on, and composite order on top. And then we're just going to send across the thinning value. And that is our 100% white preset created. And now we can do our 80%. So create an 80% white setting. We can then send across the various settings. And every time we need to turn on the automatic creation, turn on the automatic composite, and set it to composite order on top. The rest of the settings should save, but if they don't, make sure you double check and send them across if necessary. And finally, we have our 50% setting. So we're going to the favorites again, create one more for 50% white. And we're then going to send all of those settings across. And make sure we set our automatic creation to on. And now we have our 3 settings. We can delete these test images, bring that same file back in, and you can see we now have our 3 favorites to choose from on the right hand side. Let's bring one in on the 80% white setting. We now have a white plate and a color plate joined together by a layer. And all of our quality, general print, and white plate settings are saved. So all you will need to do at this point is add your copies as needed, increase your spacing between them, and that is your RasterLink presets all set up, ready to go.